This is a poem. It's by Meg Mulqueen. It's out of the book, The Poetry of Yoga. And it's where we're going to begin our meditation today. So find a comfortable seat. We won't be here long. Poem is called, Why Do You Stand There in All Your Doubt? So close your eyes. Close your eyes and take a few moments. You can sit, you can lay down, whatever feels good for you. It's kind of a long poem, but it's one that you can kind of breathe into. Why do you stand there in all of your doubt? Don't you know that your whole life has led you to this moment, preparing you? Your feet have grown rooted and firm, the result of all those storms you weathered. Yours are the feet that stand their ground. Your legs are powerful, a strength built from trudging through some rough and dangerous terrain. Yours are the legs that move mountains. Your shoulders are broad as they are practicing in carrying not only the load you have been given, but often bearing the burden of others. Yours are the shoulders that hold others up. All the tears you shed have cleared your vision, giving you a greater capacity to see all that is there and who are there before you. Yours are the eyes that not only look into the eyes of another, but the heart of another as well. And your heart, my friend, has only grown bigger. Each time it was broken and patched back together. Yours is the heart that no longer knows limits in its capacity to love. Even your hands are not the hands you began with. For now, their grasp is tighter and their grip is stronger. Yours are the hands of understanding. I know you are shaking. It's true, the challenge that lies before you is like none you've faced before. I know you are tired, and you should be. You've struggled long and hard to get where you stand now. But I promise you, all that you have ever endured or enjoyed, relished in or suffered with, each time you won, but even more the times you didn't, have all played their part in escorting you to this place, your edge. And it's not the place you stop. Oh no, it's the place from which you'll begin. So sit with me. And sit with me as you honor this body temple, just like we did in the poem. The feet and the legs that have taken you places. The shoulders that bore the load and the responsibilities. The tears that have been shed, but the eyes that see, so the heart knows and feels. And our hands create and give and receive. And all the parts and pieces of you that are here right now that tell the story of your whole life up until this breath. We truly honor this temple that has been given for our soul to reside. And as we really sit here in this moment with this breath, we embody ourselves fully and completely with all that's here. And then give yourself a couple more deep, slow breaths. And just follow the breath as it goes in through your nose and into your lungs, following the path in and out, giving and receiving of life consistently, rhythmically. Feel how the breath expands and then contracts you. Perfect balance of effort and rest. Honoring with this next breath as we breathe in what is above, beyond the crown of our head, and what is below on our exhale, the earth, the land in which we rest ourselves. Let's bring our palms together at heart center. We'll begin today with the sound of Om. And as we offer this Om today, let's offer this Om as a dedication to peace within ourselves and peace on the planet. Take a nice long inhale. Sigh this breath out through your mouth. Just let go of any other constructs that you might have carried with you to this moment. Let them all go. Be prepared to receive today energy, rest, and care. Love turned inwards. Let's change the crossing of our legs. I have some birds around here that are definitely wanting to make their presence known. All right, so we got our legs crossed in the opposite direction. You can just stack one in front of the other. Take your right hand to your left knee, take your left arm behind you, sit tall, nice long inhalation, and exhale, give yourself a little twist here. Wake up to the spine and to your awareness that moves beyond the spine, in and around the organs, all the little parts and pieces of the trunk, and then how our spine articulates over the hips, feeling the hips also receive that little stretch. Take a nice long breath again. Fill up completely as you sit a little taller. And then exhale, return back to center. They think they're going to get fed. Bring your left hand over to your right knee, right arm behind you. Sit up nice and tall. Inhale, grow. Exhale, looking over your shoulder, using the arms as leverage for the twist. If we can keep our legs in place, sort of grounded from there, then the material of our spinal column, all the joints, all the facets, all the bursa, all that connective tissue can receive a nice circulation of prana, a little squeeze, a little wringing out. And keep the shoulders dropping down away from the ears. Let your neck get long. Maybe take your head into motion a little further. Feel the rib cage as it moves. And then see to it that you're keeping your weight even over your two sitting bones. You're not leaning too far back or too far forward. And with your next exhale, return back to the center line. Take your left hand right next to you. Take your right arm, reach it up and overhead. Take that elongation and then arc over the left side. And I'm going to walk my left hand out a little further. As I reach across, I'm grounding into that right hip. So you want to feel like you're keeping the sitting bones pressing away from you as you lengthen side body. And remember, I'm not just getting that upper part, the one that's facing the ceiling, but the one down below, that one's also creating space. Maybe you can tip your chin up and look up and beyond your arm. Stretch up the front of the belly on your next breath in. As you exhale out, stay, go deeper. And then inhale, reach up, push off your left hand, switch it out, left arm to the sky, right hand to the floor, and reaching it over. And just getting that hand out as far as is comfortable. And same with your pose. You know exactly where to go, where you get the medicine. Let's just make sure that our left shoulder isn't riding up or pulling too hard through the arm, that you're actually opening and spinning the heart as you look up or as you look to the side. So the openness comes from both lengthening the side body, but also spiraling your head or heart or both up towards the sky. And if you find a little spot that's feeling tight, what do you need to do to release that tight spot? Is a little wiggle, is a little shift, a little bend. Close your eyes, take a moment with the eyes closed to feel from deep within. Breathing in and breathing out. Push all that breath out, empty it out, push until your belly button draws in, and then inhale, sweep back up. Let's take both of the arms up and overhead, reach, clasp the hands above you, turn your palms up to the sky. Good, so shoulders drop away from the ears and slide down the back. Press the palms up. Good, just elongate. Sitting bones drop. Front ribs pin down, arms reach, armpits broaden, shoulders broaden. Big breath in and exhale, bring it all the way down. Perfect. All right, walk it out in front now. Just tip your hips over and walk forward. So you don't have to go far. Again, just as long as it feels medicinal, press your hands into the ground and feel your hips drop back. And then if it feels right, permission is given for your body to move along further. Draw your elbows down towards the floor, forearms down towards the floor. Then breathe into your back waistline. As you breathe into your back waistline, also breathe into the back rib area. So you're bringing some of that awareness and prana to your kidneys and adrenal glands. And one more deep, full breath. If you want to go a little further, feel free. Stay low. Walk your hands over to the right. So you're bringing your chest over your right knee, right thigh. Let's get a little bit of a different side stretch here. You can tuck your chin towards your chest and guide your forehead down towards your knee, or you can just remain in this extended pose, sort of pulling the heart forward and out. It's a nice neck stretch to get that forehead down towards the knee and thigh, really wrapping and rounding over. All right, our way back through center to the other side. Stay low. We're over the left thigh now. Inhale, elongate, and exhale, bow in. And just wake up to these little Moments where you're celebrating feeling good here, celebrating what's right, where in your life you're really truly blessed. Let go a little deeper on your exhalation. Really give into it. And on your inhale, walk the hands back to center, stay low, and then walk it all the way back. All right, sweep the legs out into wide leg stretch. Go as wide as feels comfortable. Slide your hands down the front of your shins, tip forward. Inhale, lift the heart, elongate spine. This time, let's just, instead of rounding, let's just try to keep the legs straight, feeling those inner groins right now, connecting the knees, inner knees. Flex the feet and fan out the toes. Yes. If you want to come forward more, you can by sliding your hands down a little further towards your feet. And you're also welcome to stay with just your hands underneath your knees. So now's the time I want you to begin to consider all the places that have been hurt in you, whether it's physical or emotional pains that you've had throughout your life that you have healed. Consider all the places that you've been hurt where you have healed. Now, I know that the body remembers. Most of those scars are there to remind us. But acknowledge, those little moments, like even as a kid, that time you burned yourself really bad or broke a bone. Honor those times that you really struggled through, like your first breakup. Or the first time you experienced death or loss. And really honor and celebrate even the healing that has happened through those experiences with your next breath. And even if you don't relive any of those moments, just to honor what you've been through, honor that you have healed so much. And then let your jaw release and let out a soft sigh on your next exhale as if you are relieving your bones of any burdens you're unnecessarily carrying from the past. Tell yourself it's okay for me to let some of that weight be gone, to be released. I honor this healing as I walk my hands back up, sitting upright again. Good. Let's come into squat pose. So bend your knees enough so you can place your feet on the ground. You can go as wide as your shoulders are. Push forward onto your feet. Now I'm going to have one hand behind me and one hand in front. As I come forward, I'm coming off my heels. So initially do this in tippy toes. Okay, I'll turn to the side. Even if you usually bring your heels down to squat, just give yourself a moment to have your heels up so you can stretch those Achilles tendons. Good. Take another breath. Tip the heart up. Let the shoulders drop down your back. Pull in through your belly. Maybe give yourself even a little baby back arch, like a cobra pose on the front of your chest. And then exhale, bring your heels a little closer to the floor. And if you usually do have squat in your practice and it's easy for you, let your hands come up off the ground and bring your hands to prayer mudra. You can take your elbows on the inside of your knees and take your thumbs in near your heart space. So opening the knees wide, keeping the feet about hips distance, maybe a little wider than that. Toes are moving in the direction of your knees. So we tend to want to keep the feet forward. So you can allow the feet to externally rotate a little bit. Breathing in, breathing out. And just like our poem said, honoring the way we've stood and walked through this life, feeling the stability of our feet and our legs. And then from here, we'll bring the knees in, slide the elbows over the knees. So now the armpits are over the knees. Now, you may be able to just hang here for a little bit. You may want to come into the next stage. We're working on a little arm balancing pose here in the beginning today. So palms come down on the floor in front of us, about a foot in front of the toes. And then as you come forward with your hands, you want to push off your heels. Okay, so we're back to that tippy toe position. My elbows can bend out slightly, and I can bring my knees open and then reset them to the upper edge of the arms. Now, if this doesn't work, which is typical for some, you might need to keep your knees and elbows pretty wide so you can come down low and just sort of feel where the floor and your hands can form this little scale, okay? Because what we're doing is we're bringing our weight over our hands and pushing off the toes. So do this a couple times. You don't even have to come off the floor yet. You're just feeling the knees rest on your arms. You're making a little shelf with your arms. Elbows are bent. Those of you who have Bakasana in your practice, you may start to keeping your gaze up, let your toes come up off the ground. So do that a couple times, just leaning forward and back. It's kind of a moving Bakasana. We're not trying to hold it for any length of time. We're kind of using a little momentum with the breath, leaning forward and back. And maybe, just maybe, you can hold it for an extra second. Or maybe, just maybe, you keep your toes on the ground, keep your gaze out, and just feel where that balance point is on your hands. Either way, one more round. Yes, you guys, awesome. Some of you going all the way, great. Others of you just kind of playing here in that tiptoe pose. Let's step it back, downward facing dog. Whoops. So first down dog of the day, feeling the hips lengthen up to the sky. Pedal the feet a bit. So go back and forth, pressing one heel down, bending the other knee. Maybe even swaying the hips. Get a little space on the side waist. Now have fun with it. Come back here eventually to downward facing dog. I'm going to bend the right knee. And as we bend the right knee, we're going to bring the toes up. So now we're kind of in a three-legged dog, but we're keeping the knee bent and into our chest. Now hold that knee there and bring yourself into kind of a plank position with your shoulders over your wrists, and then go back. And again, we're just doing this a little bit, keeping that knee in, rocking back towards the left heel and forward to, maybe chest over the thumbs, like a plank. Good, after you've done that a couple times, replace the right foot to the ground, pivot around through the feet and the legs, sway the hips, and then let's do the other side. The left knee in, left toes up. Inhale forward, keeping that knee in. Exhale back. Inhale forward. Exhale back. Maybe a lot on your wrists, so you can always micro movement. So just a little bit forward and a little bit back. Okay, but let it come from your arms and shoulders as you make that movement. So remember, we talked earlier in our poem about how we bear weight, right? How we have to honor those hands that have held us through. Replace the left foot, come back to rest. First to all fours, uncurl the toes, and then hips back on the heels,
Child's pose with the extended arms. Walk your hands out, forehead towards the ground. Let any burdens you were carrying on your shoulders slough away. Slide right off your back. And if you feel any remaining pressure in your wrists, you can bring your elbows down, bring your palms together in prayer mudra, and then lower your head from there. Sometimes we can breathe so deep that we can actually move our bones like a chiropractor would adjust us. Our breath can adjust us. So breathe deep enough and let yourself remain permeable enough so that those little adjustments can happen with your breath. All right, so walk the hands back up towards you. Sit back on the heels just for a moment. Roll the shoulders back and then come onto the knees. So you're standing. Sorry, don't stand all the way, guys. Stay in. We're going to come into gate pose. I just have to adjust my. There we go. Now you guys are going to be able to see me. You'll be able to see my head too. Okay, gate pose. So I'm here, like mountain pose, but on my knees, coming into gate pose. So taking your right foot out to the side. You're coming back to those side stretches. Inhale, take the left arm up to the sky, right arm to the thigh. Slide it open and over. So breathe in, breathe out. Press down through that left knee. Press the hips slightly forward. And then see if you can get a little more length along your left side. Perfect. Now, on the right, you still want to create space rather than compression. So see if you can pull up even on your right waist side. Good, and then spiral the heart a little bit towards the sky. Maybe even spiral your face towards the sky. One more breath here, building that expansion. And then on inhale, slide back up, release, and switch the legs. Right knee to the earth, left out. Typically when I do this pose, I kind of flex my foot or keep my toes up off the ground, but if you want to push the toes down, you can. What I really want to do is I want to make sure when I'm on this standing knee, I want to kind of draw up and into my midline, because the tendency would be for us to kind of jut that right hip out. So really attend to that center line of your body. Left hand on the thigh, right arm reaches up, good. And exhale, slide it down and over. So get that initial stretch. You only have to start at, say, 70% of your ability. And then your body, as it acclimates to each pose, invites you to go deeper. So what's that like in your brain? Your brain doesn't tell you to go further. There's nothing inside you that says, go further. It's only your body saying it's ready to go. And what's the difference in that? You know, one is like I have to or I should. And the other one is just very organic and natural. There's no pressure, no performance. It's just your body naturally coming into its full expression. I know you're doing it right now. And you know, if like something hurts, like if you get a little kink or a strain or you're wobbly, you know you're out of alignment. So look for those places, press the hips forward, give it one more breath here. And then as you inhale, sweep it up and lower your right arm down. Bring both knees back, almost as if you're in mountain again. Take your palms together in front of your heart, interlock all your fingers, and then press the palms forward, push the palms out, and then all the way up, keeping the shoulder blades down your back. Press through the knees, squeeze in through your sitting bones. Your sitting bones are moving towards each other. Pelvic floor lifts up, belly lifts up, arms are growing a little bit, like micro movements as your spine gets taller and longer. Good, and exhale, release your arms. And let's come into mountain pose. So onto your feet. And again, I'm gonna have to switch my mirror here. All right, I think that's gonna be the last time I have to do that. All right, so mountain pose, everyone. Standing in your mountain and feel how your mountain is after the little bit of movement we've done today. So coming to the front of your mat, feeling what it's like to stand on your own 2 feet, feeling that stability. And on purpose, lean your weight to your right foot and then lean your weight to your left foot, and do that a little bit, like side to side, lean, march back and forth. And feel what side may be a little more stable than the other. And then bring your weight as even as you can over your feet. And then do the same forward and back, like bring your weight over towards the balls of your feet, toes, and then back through the heels. Woo! And then see if you can get those little edges where you can't keep your spine straight if you go too far back or forward. And then find the middle. Palms together at heart center. We'll take a little bit of sun salutation, easy ones here in the beginning. I'm mostly focusing today on standing poses, but let's warm up. Inhale, open the palms from the heart, reach up, look up as you bring your palms together. Look at your thumbs and see if you can bring your pelvis forward as you let your arms go back by the ears. And then exhale, hinge at the hips, hands to the floor next to the feet. Let's start with a half salutation. Inhale, half lift. You can slide your hands up your shin bones if you like. Exhale, lower in, deep forward fold, forehead to the shin. Inhale, sweep those arms up and overhead again. Look up, pelvis forward, arms back, eyes gaze up. Exhale, hands to heart center. One more like that. Inhale, reach up. Exhale, fold in half. Inhale, half lift. And exhale, fold in. Feel you celebrating those good feelings. Inhale, sweep up, reach up, look up. And exhale, hands to heart center. All right. Classical sun salutations now. Inhale, open the palms from the heart. Remember what we do. We honor our prayers through this movement. Exhale, fold. Inhale, right leg back. Let's start with a low lunge. We'll stay here for a few breaths. Sink the hips, tilt the heart forward. Draw that belly button back so you feel elongation front and back. Opening right thigh, right quad. Perhaps it even feels good to come up now. Hands off the floor, maybe interlocking the hands across the front of the left knee, or even taking the arms up by the ears. So give yourself a few more moments in the lunge, allowing it to express in its perfect way for this breath and moment. And with your next exhale, hands to the floor, next to that left foot, step back the left foot to plank. Now pause and plank for a moment and push off the toes and push back through the heels and do that kind of movement, trying to keep your belly nice and strong, your inner line connected, right and left sides connected. Weight on the hands, feeling the finger pressing. Good. And now shoulders over the wrists. Drop the knees straight down from there. Chest and chin, arching the back, chin to the ground, elbows in. Inhale to cobra. Don't come up too high. In fact, let's come down almost all the way so the belly's on the ground. Pick up your hands and then replace them. Push. Do that a couple more times. Come down onto your belly. We're keeping the head up, just floating. Bring the hands up. So now you're doing this pose from your upper back. Press down through the hands. Pick it up again. One last time. Come down half the distance towards the floor. Elbows come up. Hands come up. Exhale, hands to the floor. Inhale, lift that heart. Really open up your big, huge Bhujangasana. And exhale, curl the toes under, press back, downward facing dog. All right, we've already been here today. So take your biggest breath so far. Maybe stick out your tongue and let out a big growl on your exhale. Shake out your head and neck. Woo. And now let's go to the other side with our lunge, bringing the right foot forward. You might have to take that right hand out of the way, bringing the left knee to the ground. Start little. Quadricep on the left side, opening, all the way from the hip to the knee. That whole 4 muscle grouping gets a big stretch. When the hips are heavy, the pelvis is heavy, we need to pick up the heart and lengthen the spine out of the hips. So there's that movement both towards the earth and away from the earth at the same time. You want to come up, second level, clasp the hands across the front of the right knee, just above it. Use your breath to stay here and enjoy, or extend the arms and continue. So it's like you expand into your body. So the pose comes alive within you wherever it needs to go. And then exhale, circle the hands back to the floor, step the left foot to the front of the mat, fold in. And inhale, sweep the arms up to the sky. Palms together, lean it back. Exhale, hands to heart center. So every time I come up, I'm pulling up through my pelvic floor. I'm pulling up through my belly. I'm pushing my feet down as I reach up. So get that internal movement. Last round, inhale, open the palms from the heart, reach up. Exhale, fold in half. Good, let's take the left leg back first this time. Come into high lunge. And instead of staying in high lunge today, just let the back of the left knee lift, really push into your left heel. Left hand stays at the floor, right hand comes onto the right thigh, right knee. And then twist again. Twist to your right. Do your best to stack your shoulders. And then reach the right arm up overhead if that's the next thing the body evolves to. Breathe in, breathe out, holding that steadiness. And if you want, circle the right arm. And if you even want to go further, you can watch your hand as it circles around. Woo. Now replace the right hand to the floor, step back into your plank pose. And this time, instead of going back and forth on the heels, toes, let's do little mini micro bend elbows, press. So bend the elbows, even if it's just an inch, push back up. And keep your spine nice and strong and straight. So you're still in plank. You're just bending the elbows and pushing back up again. Good, we're building up those chaturanga muscles, right? Good, exhale, drop the knees, that was enough. Erica, bend the knees, bend the hands, elbows in, chin to the floor. Hold, knees, chest, chin pose. So your hips are up here. My pelvis is away from the floor. My sitting bones are activated. They're opening and lifting. My elbows are in. My toes are under. 8 points. Touching from here. Push through the feet. Sweep the heart between the arms. Cobra. This time you can stay in your cobra, whatever one wants to come forth, but press down through the tops of your feet and spread your toes. While those toes and feet are activated, pull into your pelvic floor. Lift up into your belly button. Engage your heart and your chest through. Squeeze your shoulder blades back towards each other. Head is level. Like a cobra getting ready to strike. Deep inhale. And exhale, curl the toes under, push up and back, downward facing dog. Breathe big in. Breathe big out. It is a warmer day today, like it is here. You can always use your exhales to release extra heat in the body if you need it. Otherwise, you can continue with Ujjayi breath. Slight whispery sound in the back of the throat to help you meditate and stay present. Close your eyes, see your shape as you are inverted. These down dogs are great for our heart, great for our brains. Release the head and neck here, shake it out. On our next in-breath, left foot comes forward, high lunge. Okay, high lunge means that right knee is off the ground, and in fact, the back of the knee is picking up towards the ceiling. You're getting ready to run a race, you know, at the beginning where they shoot the gun, you can take off. That's where you want to be, in that kind of anticipation of energy. From here, let the hips melt a little bit. Right hand stays where it is. Left hand comes up above the left knee. Then give yourself your twist. So we're rotating through the spine, keeping it long. Breathing in, breathing out. Get that buoyancy. So maybe even while you're here holding, maybe even taking the left arm up, maybe circling around, you still want to feel that left foot pushing enough so your hips stay buoyant. And you feel that activation on your left hip. Like it's not asleep. It's getting stronger. Yes. Breathing in, watching. Breathing out. Presence. Good. Land that left hand back to the earth. Step the right foot to meet with the left and fold in. Inhale, sweep the arms all the way up and overhead. Palms come together. And exhale, hands to heart center. Awesome. All right, grab your block or grab a chair. If you know you enjoy these poses better with more propping. Okay, so you can use like a regular old armchair. And this is especially nice for those who have balance issues or just never can quite reach the floor, even with the help of a block. Okay, so I'll give you a couple of those options and what they look like. We'll take our legs wide for now. And if you're using a chair, make sure you line up one of your feet just right up against the edge of your chair feet. Okay, have your block at reaching level. All right, let's turn our right toes out for now. And we'll take our block or a chair over the right foot. Okay, so you might have to move your chair. All right, arms out at heart level. So this is called side stance position. Coming into triangle, you're doing a lot of side bending so far today. We're going to stay with that. Long trunk activation, so pressing through the feet to get that spaciousness through your spine. Now the hips tip in this position. The tip is we crease deeply into the right hip as we push out the left. There's not a lot of poses that let us do that. And then the right hand comes down, either to the shin just below the knee, or your block or the floor. And for those of you using, it would be the chair, it would be the seat of the chair. Okay, so that might be a little further up than say what you would normally see in triangle pose. Okay, so just as we did before with our gate pose, we're gonna press the hips slightly forward, okay? And all of a sudden you're gonna feel the whole left side body, sideways, quadratus lumborum, the low back muscles. You're gonna feel those stretch open a little further, just with that little press of the hips. And now with the arms stacking one on each other, turn your heart towards the sky. Push into your feet a little bit more and elongate your head. Now you might find that looking up is too much. You might need to look to the side or look down, but still keep that heart open. Let's give it one more breath. Exhale it all the way out. On your inhale, imagine you got something pulling you from that extended left arm. So press through the feet, inhale up through the left arm. Take the arms back out at heart level and then release your arms. Switching sides. I'm going to do it with the chair this time to demo that option. So left toes out, right toes in. Adjust your block where you need it. And then inhale the arms out at heart level. Good. So first we get that tipping the teapot thing with our hips. So deep crease on that left inner groin. And then as we reach over, left hand can come onto the seat of your chair, just under your knee, block or the floor. But see, the tricky part is a lot of us, we think, oh, being at the floor is better. But I'll tell you what, I'm getting a great stretch with my hand here on the seat of the chair. And my body will cooperate and keep my hips in place when I reach down. What I want to do is I want to feel like I'm pushing more into my feet right now than anywhere else in my body. So if I was to really push into my right inner ball of my right foot, toe, big toe, and inner right heel, all of a sudden my hips are going to start to align a little differently in the pose. So notice how the pressure you put onto your feet adjusts your pose, sends a ripple effect up your body. And then from here, if you want to go a little deeper, twist slightly, just twist slightly. You want to rotate more, like your heart towards the sky, because the tendency is for us to kind of roll down towards the floor, right? So let that happen. And then where does your head and neck want to be? And embrace that, become a big starfish, shining brightly. And on your next inhale, press through your feet, reach up through your right arm, and then come back to the starting position. Good, release the arms. So turn the toes back in, and then let's actually bring the feet back together. So you can kind of push off and step in, or you can heel toe your way in and come to mountain for just a moment. So that was side stance position. It's wherever one of our feet are turned out and we're facing the wide end of our mat. Now let's do a forward stance position. So I'm going to turn to face my narrow end of my mat. Okay, have my blocks close by or the seat of my chair close by, within about a foot's distance of me. Stand in mountain pose, relax the shoulders back, stand strong. Notice how your legs feel now as they bear the weight of the rest of your body, and feel the strength of that. And then we're going to look at this right foot as we send it back on that same track to the back end of our mat. Okay, only about 2.5 feet distance, so you don't have to take it all the way back, but just as back as it feels good. Keeping the hips facing the narrow end of the mat. Take the hands and arms, reach back, grab the elbows behind you. Okay, if you have your elbows easily, great. If you can't, grab your wrists. You could go deeper. You can take reverse namaste behind your back. What are we trying to do here is keep the chest and the arms even. Okay, so I have a lot of tightness in my right elbow today. I might feel that when I come in to reach behind me. So press into both feet, push the floor, lift through the navel, activate a little bit of an arc on the upper part of your body, like cobra. And then exhale, lead with the heart as you come forward. And as you come forward, try to level your shoulders as you come forward over. Like I can feel those slight little subtle adjustments my body makes. I can feel my back, like the erectors turn on my back. So we want that. So hover about half the distance. And then if you need to microband that forward knee just a little bit, do so. If you want to come further, lead through the heart. If you can't quite come all the way further safely, you can have your hands out on the seat of your chair. That'll keep your spine long as you work that front hamstring open. And for some of you, maybe it's a block on either side of the left foot. It's going to be much lower than the seat of a chair. And some even can come all the way down. So staying in that forward stance, feeling the front leg, this is pyramid pose. Feeling the feet connecting, inner groins drawing closer towards each other. So build that connection and then let the belly turn on so you can elongate the crown of your head forward even more. Pull your heart forward even more. Now push into your feet. Inhale, sweep the arms all the way up. And exhale, release your arms. Good, we're gonna bring it back to mountain pose. Forward stance position on the left side now. Send the left leg back on that left track. So if we start with our feet at hips distance apart, the left leg goes straight back on that track. It means there's always going to be, 5 or hips distance, 5 inches or more, between our feet. So we're not trying to get the foot directly behind the heel. We want a little space so that our hips can move. These hips will only articulate when we have space to move through the pelvis area and the sacral area. All right, so let's reach back. If you reach back and grabbed your elbows one way, try to grab them in the other way. Or reverse namaste. Inhale, lift the heart. Exhale, press into the feet. Tipping at that halfway point, pause. Take a breath or two before you lower down too quickly. And then also squeeze your inner thighs towards each other. So you feel like you're picking up through the inner groins, pulling into the lower belly. So that'll turn on too. That way the lower back doesn't have to do all the work. All right, so hands to your seat of your chair or to your blocks. You can let yourself go in a little deeper now, leading with your heart. Let it feel good. So we're really activating the legs, keeping them powerful, bone stacking. And then if you find you've come too far and you need to back up, you can always make your blocks higher. You can always reverse. Take a nice long inhale. See if you can grow out of your hips so the crown of your head moves further out in front of your mat. Good, and on your inhale, sweep the arms up, pressing through the feet. And exhale, release the arms. Bring the feet back together in mountain pose and wiggle everything out. All right, so we use that same forward stance position to do our balancing poses. So today's balancing pose is dancer. If you find that your balance is tough, you could always use the back of your chair. Use that as your support. Otherwise, we're here in mountain. We're reaching back to grab the top of our right foot. So I'm going to bend at my right knee, bring that foot behind me and catch it with my hand. Now at first, maybe this is just all we go. You can always take the right hand to the inside arch of your foot. That's going to help you externally rotate the upper right chest point, which feels really nice when we're coming into dancer. Squeeze the inner groins together. Yep. And then get a nice thigh stretch by pushing the pelvis forward, lifting up into your breastbone, and drawing your heel into your booty. Dancer 1, left arm reaches up. Dancer 2, right foot kicks out. Try to keep that arc on the front of your body. As you kick your foot out, your foot pushes into your hand. Right arm elongates, toes point up towards the sky. As you continue to tip the hips a little more, maybe the left arm comes out in front of your heart and the toes go higher to the sky. So feel that balance wherever you are. Maybe you're still in dancer 1, that's perfectly okay. Take your next inhale, bring yourself back up, and exhale, release the pose. Shake it out. Other side. Try opening your palm away from you so that when you bend your left knee, you grab your foot from the inside arc of your foot. So what that does is it externally rotates the upper arm to keep the chest open as we go into this Natarajasana, the cosmic dancer pose. So dancer one, very satisfying. You can stay here, grab those inner groins and really stand as tall as you can. You'll know when you're ready to kick that left foot back. It might just naturally push into your hand. Keep the arc on the front of the body. Gaze up, open-hearted. And if it feels right, send the right arm straight out as you raise the back leg behind you a little more. Breathing in, breathing out. Gaze steady. All these poses may be stable, they may be a little shivery. And we're working wherever we comfortably can. Yet still pushing those edges, right? That's what gives us the growth. Release. Shake out the legs. Oh, we got one more standing pose to go. Let's go wide stance position. So back to the side of our mat, but this time both toes are pointing towards this wide side of the mat. Grab your hips. So we're using this sort of movement of the pelvis, taking the sitting bones back, bringing the heart to lead the way. That same hovered position we just were in, with the legs slightly like scissored. So now they're wide. Elongate the crown towards your computer, push the hips back, angle the navel back in towards your belly, pull up through the pelvic floor. So you feel this lightness happening. And if it feels secure for you, you can slide your hands down the front of your shins, much like we did when we did Konasana seated. You don't have to go all the way to grab your toes, but if it happens, hey, you might surprise yourself. As you come through, let your head slightly drop. So you're not holding any tension in the back of the leg or back of the neck. Let the legs open. And some of you here may, just may, take your head to the ground. If you can't quite get your head to the ground, maybe you take your head to your block. Maybe it's just hovering above the floor. Maybe you have to go even wider. So check and make sure that if you make any adjustments, you're making them because your body says yes, rather than forcing them. Take another couple breaths here. Walking the hands back to the floor, walking them straight out so you're on your fingertips. And this is going to be the tricky part. We're bending our right knee and we're going to pivot so the right toes turn out. We're going to sit half squat on the right. So we already did gate pose. We already did squat pose. So this is a way for us to get both of those poses in one. Looks like a little bit of a ninja. It feels good here. Add the twist. So open the left arm to the sky. Press your right shoulder, right arm into your right inner groin. And again, if you want to take that back stroke with the left arm, do so. That lubricates the shoulder joints. Ooh, nice big stretch on the inner groin and heel, feet. Stay low. Walk your hands back through. You can come up off your heel, straighten your legs, move through the wide stance. And again, pivot left toes out before you come down. Right leg straightens. And then again, if you want, you can bring your heel to the ground or you can stay forward. Whatever your hips allow you today. And then maybe you're just hanging here. Maybe you're here. And maybe getting that nice twist. All right, so just play with what's available. Circulate the energy. I always note whenever I'm doing these twisting squats, I get so much release in my low back and hips. There aren't very many poses that give us this kind of openness in the low back. But equally, it's a big groin stretch. So we have to be really wary if we have any inner groin injuries. All right, so hands back forward. Walk it like Spider-Man to the front. Push into your standing foot. So now both legs are straight again. We're in that wide stance, forward fold. We're going to push into the feet, all four corners of it. Right hip grab, or right hand to right hip, left hand to left hip. Hover. Press through the feet. Inhale, come all the way up. And then heel toe the feet in just once. Slide the hands down the thighs and come into a deep squat with the hips, toes turned out, knees following the direction of the toes, hips heavy. And lock the arms. That means lock the elbows. If it has to be your shoulders up to your ears, that's great. Otherwise, just kind of hold space. Deep hips. Breathing in, breathing out. One last twist here for those ready. Roll your right shoulder forward, look over your left. Inhale, center. Exhale, roll your left shoulder forward, look over your right. Woo-hoo-hoo. This is also where I get nice little chiropractic adjustments. Inhale, center. Exhale, bring it out. Just enough to where you're giving that extra little boost without any sort of disrespect how much movement your spine and your body want to go. Good. Inhale, center. Press through the feet. Get light through the arms. Get horse pose or goddess pose. And then hump a couple times. We're going to get some momentum to stand strong. Feel those quads turn on. Reach. Inhale. Exhale. Big circle around overhead. And then toes in, heels in to mountain pose. Pause. Breathe in, breathe out. All right. So we're coming onto our bellies now, all the way onto the belly flat. I just want to reread this little section of our poem today one more time. Just to kind of drive in this beautiful dance between the faith we have in ourselves and how the challenges we live through in our life. It's a metaphor for the power that is gained in our bodies. So why do you stand there in all your doubt? Don't you know that your whole life has led you to this moment, preparing you? Your feet have grown rooted and firm, the result of all those storms you weathered. Yours are the feet that stand their ground. Your legs are powerful, a strength built from trudging through some rough and dangerous terrain. Yours are the legs that move mountains. Your shoulders are broad. We're going to work on that again, as they are practiced in carrying not only the load you have been given, but often bearing the bundle of another. All babies we carried, right? Those of you who are mamas. All the people we've helped. Those of you who have been in service on the planet. Yours are the shoulders that hold others up. So let's first make sure we're relaxing all the way down onto our bellies to get that nice release before we come into our next set. Okay, so all the way onto the belly. Make a little pillow with your hands. Turn your head to one side. And let your whole body soften into the ground. See if you can rest completely so you're not holding any pressure at all in the body, just resting, letting go. Good, so with that deep unwind, we'll come so our forearms are parallel in Sphinx pose. So palms flat on the ground, wrists connected, elbows on the ground. Elbows right in front of the shoulders, slightly forward of the shoulders. And then legs real strong. And in fact, what I want you to do is press the palms of the hands down while simultaneously pressing the pubic bone forward. So we're doing a lot of that pelvis pressing forward to get the heart to and the belly to turn on and lift. And at the same time, I want you to squeeze your tailbone, sitting bones towards each other, towards the midline of your body. And just see how that helps you feel uplifted, okay?
And for those of you feeling ready to go further, bend your right knee and then set it down. Bend your left knee and then set it down. Bend both knees, bringing the heels together behind you. Lift a little more. And then for those of you who want to stay and work a little further towards the back bend, slide your hands back where your elbows were and press into your King Cobra. Okay, King Cobra is with the knees bent behind you. Eventually you might get your head and your toes to touch. That's not my goal today. It's just to let that back get a nice bend, a nice heart opener, and then we'll return both feet back to the ground. Bring the hands down again. Turn your head in the opposite direction, resting completely. And when you breathe, breathe into your low back where you felt your stretch. All right, transitioning back to all fours position. So push up to your hands and knees. Give yourself a little time in your creature body to work out any last bits of kinks before we go on to our back. So maybe it's, you know, like when we were in down dog, we did the little wag of the tail. And you can also do the belly in position. So you bring your knees in close and then you just squeeze head to knee with the right thigh up, and then you can also send it back. And just do that kind of a couple times. Moving this time, instead of through your shoulders and arms, moving more through your hips and low back. So this is like a tuck and extend. Start on the right, do about 5 to 6 tuck and extends. This should help to counterbalance the work we've done on our back bending today and on our standing poses today. And then you can just touch that right toe down and then pick up and do a couple just lifts of the leg from table position. And then when you're done with your right side, bring the right knee down, let the knees separate, and again, do a little creature body movement before we switch to the other side. So just giving yourself a chance to move in whatever ways you want. You can get really crazy with it. And then bring your knees in together, feet in together. Lift into your left knee, bring your head towards your left knee, curl, round, and then send it straight back. We're not going into an archy back position, more just to the left extend. Squeeze in, round the back, and extend straight back behind you. So do that a couple more times. 5 or 6 rounds total. Inhale to extend. Exhale to push it out. Good. And then just tapping the left toes down, lifting that leg up. So this is really good strengthening for your booty, but also engages the belly like we would for plank. So we're really giving our whole body that activation, inner to outer, right to left, up to down, front to back. Release, put on that creature body. I'm gonna really widen out my knees, draw circles with my hips, both directions. Sit back, wobble. Just do what feels good. And then meet me on your back. And if you have your chair handy, that might be nice for our final positions today. We're going to do some, well, if you have a wall, it could be helpful. We're going to just do some supported shoulder stand and then bridge at the wall or with our chair. So have that handy.
we'll start with those. So just to show those of you have a chair, just to show those of you what it's like to work with the chair on these. The trick is to make sure your chair is steady for you. It will never be as steady as a wall. So for those of you who are good at doing shoulder stands and bridges on your own, like the chair will be okay. But for those of you who have troubles with either of those, a wall is going to be your best friend. So use the wall instead. I'm going to demonstrate from the chair so you can imagine if this was a wall, right? It would be kind of the same thing. And most importantly, so we're going to come right up against our chair or wall and lay back with our knees and our toes right at the edge. Okay, and we're going to walk our booty in towards our heels. You may even take your toes up the wall or up the chair. Okay, so from here, we're going to lift the hips. We're going to place our hands underneath. Try to draw the shoulders in. If you can't get there, you can just have your hands down by your sides. So we're in that bridge position. Now, for those of you who feel ready for the next step into supported shoulder stand position, you take one foot at the wall or to the seat of your chair, and then the other foot to the wall, to the seat of your chair, and press. Same idea as you would for the bridge pose. And you can walk your feet up your wall, place your hands at your low back, and some of you can even come away from the wall and do supported shoulder stand from here. So the wall or the chair is just a way for you to get there and then eventually get there on your own and hold it on your own. So notice I'm angular. I'm not trying to get my chest and my chin to each other. I'm not doing a neck stand. It's a shoulder stand. I want to feel my elbows supporting me, upper arms supporting me, belly, inner groin supporting me. And it's like my legs are like the candle flame reaching up. And I can squeeze in and draw up a little higher. I can walk my hands up my spine a little more when my body feels ready. I love shoulder stand as a cooling inversion, as long as it's safe. And if it's not safe, your other option is just doing legs up the wall or legs up the chair pose. Okay, so on your way out, bend your knees, bend at your hips, slowly begin that journey back. And for those of you who came up with the bridge, you want to come back down through the bridge. So you're going to find your chair with your foot or your wall with your feet and lower down from there. Okay, so you can come back to legs up the wall, or you can let your legs rest against the seat of your chair. Take a moment to pause. And I always like holding shoulder stand for, several minutes if it's in the practice, or you can build your practice up to it. All right, we're going to roll over slowly to the right side. We have a little bit more to go. I'm going to move my chair out of the way. You can do this with the wall nearby, but you just don't want the wall to get in the way. So I would kind of send yourself away from the wall. So maybe your feet are at the wall now. If you're at the wall, hands underneath your booty. We're coming back onto the elbows. Okay, so legs are straight out in front. I'm sitting on my hands facing down, palms down. So this particular move is your fish pose, Matsyasana. We've been doing a lot of movement with the head and neck today. So we're going to push into the elbows, grow the chest, keeping the booty on the ground strong, lift the heart, and let the head go back. Now the head can just hang in space, or you can lean back till the crown of your head meets with the floor. And as long as that feels okay for your head and neck, this is one of those great chest openers, heart openers.
And we're bearing weight on our elbows instead of other parts of our body. It's really nice after our shoulder stand. All right, so one more big breath here. And no need to rush. If you really love this, stay here. If you're ready to come out, lift your head back up to level. Take your hands out from underneath you and slowly lower yourself back into a Savasana. If you want to have something underneath your head, slide a pillow or a small blanket underneath your head. If you need any support underneath your knees, you can grab a pillow, place it underneath your knees, or vice versa. Do blanket underneath your knees rolled up. And we're moving into our Savasana now, our resting position. If you have something to place over your face, specifically your eyes, like an eye pillow, okay? It's a nice little addition to your practice, to your Savasana that helps you get any extra light out of your eyeballs, helps you really rest deeply. All the tears you have shed have cleared your vision, giving you a greater capacity to see all that is there and who are there before you. Your eyes that not only look into the eyes of another, but the heart of another as well. And your heart, my friend, has only grown bigger. Each time it was broken and patched back together, yours is the heart that no longer knows limits in its capacity to love. Even your hands are not the hands you began with, for now their grasp is tighter and their grip is stronger. Yours are the hands of understanding. I know you are shaking. It's true, the challenge that lies before you is like none you faced before. I know you are tired and you should be. You've struggled long and hard to get where you stand now. But I promise you, all that you have ever endured or enjoyed, relished in or suffered with, each time you won, but even more the times you didn't, have all played their part in escorting you to this place. It's your edge. The edge is not the place you stop. Oh no, it's a place from which you'll begin. So letting go here to really see from within, softening and receiving, releasing all that came through you and by you to this point. Receive this beautiful healing. Got some sound healing for you today. Place one hand on your belly and one hand on your heart. And with a couple breaths, thanking yourself for getting here today, thanking your body. Thank you for all the healing that has been done. And with your next breath, begin to stretch yourself out, circling ankles and wrists. And reaching into space. The healing frequency you had today was called Finding Forgiveness frequency. It's really honoring all the parts of us that can release, can let go of the past, and all that we've learned from it. Stretching out, rolling to your right side, taking as much time as you need. And eventually we'll meet each other in a sitting position, coming back full circle to where we began.